I'm Tammy Kolda, an applied mathematician, and this is Unlocking LaTeX Graphics. On this channel, I present tutorials on using TikZ and PGF plots. Today, I'm answering a viewer question about how to create evenly spaced nodes along a line in TikZ. This is a common question, and there are several ways to achieve this effect. This video demonstrates the use of loops, TikZ calculations, and using the pause option for nodes along a path. The videos on this channel are based on my book, Unlocking LaTeX Graphics, as well as some bonus materials. Before we get started, let's set up our LaTeX document. I'm using the geometry package to set a custom paper width just so that things fit well on the screen for this demo. This is not something you would typically do in a real document. The parse package is used to add space between paragraphs rather than the usual indentation. I mode hyperref to link the author name back to the YouTube channel. Of course, the important package is TikZ, which we'll be using to create our graphics. Thanks to @CoachBennett10s for posting this question on YouTube. I'll go ahead and paste the original question and code here so we can see what the issue is. The first line draws a 14 by 3 rectangle with the lower left corner at the origin. Then the user has a loop from 0 to 9, as we see here. At each iteration, a node is calculated as an x-coordinate, which is 1 plus 1.2 times the loop variable n, and a y-coordinate of 1.5, which is mid-height in the rectangle. The goal is to have the nodes evenly spaced between x equals 1 and x equals 13. However, as we can see over here, they are not coming out centered in the rectangle as desired. The problem with the original code is that the spacing calculation here is off. I'm going to show you two different ways to fix this. The first method is to correct the spacing calculation in the loop. The distance from x equals 1 to x equals 13 is 12 units, and we want to place 10 nodes evenly in that space with the first node at the beginning, x equals 1, and the last node at the end, x equals 13. To do this, we need to divide the total distance by the number of intervals, which is 9. Since there are 10 nodes, there are 9 intervals between them. Therefore, the correct spacing is 12 divided by 9, which, using my calculator, is approximately 1.3333. So let's modify this loop to use the correct spacing. So I'm just going to paste the corrected code down below. We'll compile that. And you can see here that the only change I made was 1.2 to 1.3333 in the x-coordinate calculation. And if we look over to the right, now things are evenly spaced and centered in the rectangle as desired. The second method to achieve evenly spaced nodes is to use the pause option in TikZ. This has the advantage of not needing to do any manual calculation. Let me paste some code here. I create a path from 1, 1.5 to 13, 1.5, which is the line along which we want to place the nodes. Note that I'm not actually drawing this line. This is an example of using a path for positioning only. Then I place a foreach loop directly on that path right here. And it's going to loop on n going from 0 to 9. The contents of the foreach loop have to be placed inside curly braces. And then I'm placing a node. And then here's the pause part. I'm saying the pause is equal to n divided by 9. And then the contents of the node are just the number n. The pause option specifies the position along a path as a fraction of the total length of the path. So 0 is at the beginning of the path and 1 is at the end of the path. This way I don't have to calculate the spacing myself. It does it for me. When I compile this, you can see that the nodes are evenly spaced and centered in the rectangle just like before. If I change, for example, the length of the line, suppose I change this from 2 to 12, I don't have to change anything else. They're still going to be evenly spaced. If I want to change the total number of nodes to 7, I have to change it in two places, the loop variable and the divisor. And this works again. This means no new calculations are required. These are done automatically by TikZ. The pause option is a powerful way to place nodes and coordinates along a path without needing to do manual calculations. I hope you enjoyed today's episode on evenly spacing nodes along a line. Thanks again to Coach Bennett10s for the great question. I include a link to the Overleaf document I created today in the show notes. If you found this helpful or interesting, please click like or subscribe. If you have TikZ or PGF plots questions, please post them in the comments and maybe I'll make a video about it. If you want to learn more, please check out the other videos. I also have a book, Unlocking LaTeX Graphics, available for purchase at major book retailers. Thanks for watching.